This is Brownie's Podcast!
Welcome to Brownie's Podcast. John, are you well, my feathered friend?
I tell you what, I feel so good.
Yes,
I feel
why?
so good. The Brisbane Lions, to me, look like the premiership favourites. They were magnificent, but I don't want to get carried away. I'm an unbiased pundit. I pride myself on that, but now I tell you what, the thought and the excitement that I may be doing 88 cashies in grand final week, it's an amazing thought at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably not as excited as our girl Beck.
Oh, yeah.
Because our girl Beck, what did you have last weekend or this weekend just gone, Beck?
I had a 5-year high school reunion.
Beck.
Five years?
Who does you don't need a 5-year reunion. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, we're just, getting on the bevs. Like, why not? It's just another excuse for it, so...
Was it disgusting?
It was pretty disgusting.
A couple of old flames still floating around.
Actually, a bit of drama.
What?
Oh, right, okay.
So some
Let's
people didn't
unpack.
come because they dated each other, so they
Really?
obviously don't want to see each other anymore. So
So that's the problem with a 5-year reunion. There's still, scars are still fresh. You need time for that wound to heal over, almost to the point where you can't see the scar. So
Now-
5 years is just not enough.
That's not enough, man.
I liken that, the 5-year reunion, to the great Danny Frawley.
Oh, yeah.
God rest his soul. Spade told me one day that he organised, as the former coach of Richmond Footy Club, and they missed out in success, he organised a 2001 preliminary final loss reunion for all his boys. And it was well attended. He said it was a great day. That was of course, we beat him in the prelim final by about 90 points. But he thought that was good enough to organise a reunion.
Oh, man, that's shit hot. Hey, let's talk
Jeez, I
about...
miss Spud. The other day he told us that he went to Luna Park. They were supposed to be at training.
Yep.
And they had a couple of hours to kill. It was a cold summer's. It was a warm summer's day.
Yep.
And they saw the Big Dipper at Luna Park. So him and Spud were there. Him and Plugger had driven up from Ballarat. So they were on the Big Dipper.
Yeah.
And they're having so much fun, they rang Darryl Baldock and said, "We're held up working on the farm back in Ballarat. We can't make training tonight." However, there was a photographer from the Herald back in those days.
Got him.
Who snapped him and put him on page 3 of the paper the next day. Didn't go down real well. Imagine Spud and Plugger Locker going down the front seat of the Dipper when
Mate,
they're supposed to be a pre-season training.
Beck, this is before the internet. The only way they could have got done was a reporter and the newspaper, and it's happened.
just all manually.
Now, Brody and Dog are trying to hook Dog up
Yes.
to the show because he's in Sydney and went to the UFC. Did Buddy go to his box? Because do you remember last podcast? Campbell got a free box at the UFC.
Yeah.
And he's invited some big names, John.
Huge names. John Barker.
Big.
Famous. I made him famous.
Is that right?
2002 Mark of the Year, which I brought in today.
Thank you, mate.
I brought the trophy in today.
Give me a look at that.
There you go. She's sterling silver.
Look at this thing. If you were a drug dog, I can imagine the things that could have been done with this plate. But you're not a drug
No,
dog.
I haven't done any of that.
He's not a drug dog.
Yeah. Gee, it's nice, isn't it?
Mate, that's gorgeous. I've never held this. How much cash did you get for that, Mark?
Do you know that time now? I think I got 10,000 from Carlton Draft.
Yes.
And I put that on the. That's just inside the front door.
What, as a door stopper?
Just a door stopper, So there you go. I brought that in there for you, Dino. What a weekend it was.
All right, so I was at the Saints game. Giants, man, they got nothing to lose.
Giants got nothing. They are the team. There's always a team from outside the top 4 that'll make the prelim final, if not the grand final. And the Giants are the team. So Port Adelaide be really concerned about playing. They were cleaned up by the Lions on the weekend. They just play a great brand of football, the Giants. They've got stars. They've probably got the best defender in the comp, Sam Taylor, and the best forward, clearly, Toby Green, outside of... Well, I think he's probably better. His finals record's shown over Charlie Curnow.
Yeah.
So Toby Green is amazing. Their midfield's amazing. So they could cause some real problems. Yeah, Collingwood, if they beat Port, Collingwood wouldn't want to be playing them, which they would on the Friday night at the MCG.
Because when does this... It's not luck, but you know what I mean when I say when does this fortune run out? Because a lot of close ones have gone the Pies' way.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Giants just dangerous. Toby Green said it's the least talented team he's played in.
His current team.
Current team. But, which was an interesting statement, but then he followed that up, but he said it's the team he trusts the most.
No shit.
Which is ironic. You think they've had such a talented team over the journey.
Yeah.
But yet this could be their best year, their chance to win it.
Remember when he fly kicked, who was it from the Doggies that day?
Was it Bon and Pally?
I think it might have been Bont. I was there that day. The Doggies fans, man, they were going to jump the fence. When he did that kick, I jumped on the bandwagon of he's a psychopath. Brrr. But he's managed to win everyone back over.
All-Australian captain.
Yeah, no,
it's amazing performance.
I love the guy now.
Yeah,
What's happened? Who's his PR people?
I think he is. He's he's been on the media a few times. He speaks really well. He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And he came up. His mum did an amazing job bringing him up.
Right.
Because his old man's had a checkered history.
Really?
Including grand final day in 2019. It's a pretty embarrassing incident for Toby where his old man got drunk in the crowd and all that sort of stuff. But Toby's just, the way he carries himself, he's amazing. So, and the rest of that team, Adam Kingsley's done an amazing job, really.
And then your boys obviously wiped the floor with Port. Now, we're going to start talking about your boys properly. And that starts with you on the couch. Because let me tell you why. A lot of your fans are looking to you for Brisbane love. And there's only how many teams left in the goddamn final?
6 teams left.
You got to give them at least 7 minutes of your time on air.
Well, I copped it last week because we had Chris Fagan on the couch. We spoke to him for 18 minutes.
Softball questions.
No, they were very good questions. They were pointed. They were challenging. He really engaged and he really enjoyed it. But the problem was then we didn't have time to go through Brisbane because we spoke to Fags for 18 minutes, so we went through the other 7 teams. Well, I got absolutely pounded. I got pounded on the socials for not covering off on Brisbane. Now, I thought...
I know, Bristle.
No. I thought it might have been a little bit unfair if we spoke to Fags for 18 minutes, then dedicated another 7 to the Brisbane Lions because there was 7 other teams in the premiership race.
Who would have thought that Bristle, after giving us this, would give us another bit of gold? So that was when Brayshaw missed? No, Bailey Fritsch. D's needed a goal. So here's a new one. We've got Mackay going for goal.
Oh, jeez.
And by the way, I feel sorry for Mackay. It feels like he's the Jack Darling of Carlton. He's a very good player, but he's susceptible to some brain farts.
I know, and he did an amazing job. He was their most important player in that second quarter when they established the game-winning lead.
Yeah.
For Carlton, so he'll be missed. He'll actually be really missed. But
he cops it.
He cops it, doesn't
I think
he?
it's unfair.
Well, he missed 2 absolute sitters.
Mate.
Like one running into the open goal square, hit the post.
That's harder to do that than kick a goal.
And the other one in the third quarter, which would have put him 35 points up, it's game over then.
Here we go.
He went too close to the man on the mark, and what happened, Dino?
For a game-high 35-point margin here. Mackay from another shot at point-blank range. He's missed another one. Goodness gracious me, Richo, did you see that? Goodness gracious me.
It's funny, isn't it, asking Richo about it, who famously missed plenty from that distance out as well. So I think Richo might have even alluded to that.
Hey, Broads, what's going on?
Well, I can officially reveal the reason that we're having some slight tech issues here is that the place that we record this podcast has been robbed.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff that's gone missing and making our lives a little bit difficult.
Including Campbell Brown.
So Dogs...
Was he robbed as well? Was he taken away from this premises, was he?
Will Dog be on this episode?
Imagine trying to rob Campbell Brown of anything,
Jesus.
by the way. That would be like robbing, I don't know, Mike Tyson.
Will Dog be on?
No, he won't be.
He must be furious because he got ready early for this podcast.
He was prepared.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because that's for me to deal with
Did
after
he
the
give
podcast.
him some off-air stuff? Did he give you some off-air stuff about how the UFC event went? And did Buddy Franklin turn up to his box?
No, he will be updating us on that on Friday.
Because he invited Buddy.
He invited Buddy.
None of us believed that Buddy was going anywhere near his box.
Well, last I heard, Buddy was sitting on his deck up in the Gold Coast, just looking at the magnificent views of the Gold Coast, and that looked like Sunday morning to me. So, unless Bud's got a private jet and whipped in a UFC, I'm not sure Buddy Franklin was in attendance. And also, I reckon there's a reasonable chance if Buddy Franklin was in the crowd, the cameras may have panned to him at some stage.
That's a very good point. We would have known.
Yeah, we would have known straight away. They're like, oh, look at him. It's the great Buddy Franklin. But no.
Meanwhile, let's cross the Buddy now.
Yes, I like pina colada.
In his front yard. Not back, John. His front yard.
Front yard with a beautiful view up there, just sitting on the coast. He's just going to sit back for 12 months. Are we sure that Brown Dog knows Buddy?
No. I've never seen him in the same room. Yes, they played on the same team, but hey, Gary Ablett Sr. didn't know half his teammates.
You're dead right. I think that is spot on. I'm not sure Brown Dog knows him.
Nah.
And I don't think he responds to his text messages. I think now he's almost become a fucking pest. So he is now in Buddy's... Do you reckon in Buddy's phone is it
Mosquito.
under pest? Pest Brown.
Do you remember a few years ago when the podcast first began that I would show Browny photos of his former teammates, and Browny is clearly in the Gary Ablett, Buddy Franklin category because he didn't recognise half the people he played with. He's like, what's his name? The good back pocket.
Knackers. Yeah, that's Knackers.
Oh, mate, Knackers.
No, I can guarantee you, Mel Brown, Buddy still responds to Mel because he got back to Mel straight away the other day, do a thing for charity. But every time Brown Dog comes through, it pops up as Pest Brown.
Very
He's
interesting.
got Mel Brown and Pest Brown in his phone. Do something with that.
Off chops. I was there for the Carlton game.
Yeah.
The Raw, John.
It's going to be amazing.
The sound was
I'm interviewing
unbelievable.
Sam Walsh today. I'm going to ask him about that because there's 92,000. I reckon there could be 97, 98,000. Like, this could be one of the biggest games that we've seen in Melbourne for a long time, certainly since post-COVID.
Classic teams.
The crowd will be amazing. Classic teams. It's so loud, isn't it? Especially
Oh
that
my
Carlton
God.
song when they start singing it.
I'm so jealous of Pies fans and Blues fans.
I'm taking
we
my
all
daughter.
are too.
I'm taking my daughter Olivia. She's down for it.
Yeah, 'cause she's a Blue.
so pumped, and she's absolutely crazy.
Bro,
I took my beautiful wife Annika to the football on Friday night, and she's a Sydney Swans supporter. And obviously, it's been a while since Carlton have been in the finals, and sometimes they get a bit carried away.
Yeah.
They get a bit too excited. And I was sitting there, and Annika's like, "I'm going to go to the bathroom." This is, I think, halfway through the second quarter. And beautiful Annika, lovely lady, very respectful. And as she's walking out, a Carlton supporter just taps her on the arm as she's walking through the barricade. This is in the standing room.
Yes.
And told her to go herself.
Oh, that's kind.
Which was really nice.
What a cock.
Hopefully it wasn't my daughter.
Hey, quick one, bros. I don't know if you want to hear this, but after the game, Carlton-Sydney, I went to Richmond with Titus O'Reilly and Pang.
Yes.
And they're getting mauled by Bogans.
Yeah.
Every Carlton Bogan just wants to run up to Pang and go Baggers. So Pang's had to go Baggers.
And he's not even a Nuffy supporter. He's not like Andy Lee or Andy Marr.
Couldn't tell you half the list.
He couldn't.
That's not, we're standing at the lights, and some young drunk kid comes up to the three of us and goes, "Barry, Titus!" But then he wigs out strangely over me, and he said, "Great podcast, mate. Don't let Brody talk."
No, it did not. No, it did not. Do you know his name?
Nah.
Well, No, I respect that. little bit of feedback.
Yes, very good. Good feedback there.
Good feedback.
I think we should stick to that. A little bit of feedback for Sam Pang too from Gil McLaughlin.
What do you reckon?
The president's thing during the one of the games that last time, I think he was referring back to the last time Carlton made the finals in 2013. He went through many events in history that have happened over the last 10 years, referring back to what happened in 2013. And he also referred to 2013 as Sam Pang was actually funny.
Oh, bang! Bang!
Nice.
Wait, that's more of a shots fired. From
That's
Gil.
a lot.
Who's put bullets in him?
Bro, what happened? We're just going to... Do you want to quickly talk about the Tim Membry situation?
Yeah. So all we know is, he trained the day before.
Yeah.
And then he had a really unfortunate and scary mental health episode that required intervention. It's wild. When's this ever happened? I hope he's all right.
I'm not sure. As I was involved in a situation where Daniel Bradshaw, my teammate, we got to the meeting the next day and said he's not going to play because his wife Ange is in labour or has just had a baby. That was before a big final. So that's the closest thing I can get it. Now, this is a different situation. I wouldn't say that rattled the team, but it certainly obviously affected the team lineup, and we got smashed that day at the MCG by Carlton. But no matter if Bradshaw was playing or not, I don't think it would have mattered. But however, this is a different situation. So I think Ross Lyon certainly would have had to address it with the players. A text message was sent out that morning.
So that's weird. It's a weird start to the day.
Weird start of the day, and then had to address it with the playing group. And reportedly, the players were offered, or some players were offered, if they felt uncomfortable to play, the opportunity to withdraw.
Sure.
So it's a weird situation, a very challenging situation for the coach to manage that with a playing group just before you go and play, because obviously several of the players be very close with Tim Membry, and I'm not sure whether he's had a history. I don't think he's had a history of any mental health challenges.
Hope the guy's okay, man. Because
absolutely.
Do we put too much on events like this? Obviously, everyone on that team loves him, but when you cross over the line, do we put too much on events like this?
As in too much pressure and
Like an
expectation.
event like this can offset
How
everything.
the players handle it.
Yes.
I think it'd be off-putting. I can only think, if I put myself in those shoes, I think it certainly would be off-putting, especially if you're close to Tim because of your concern for him. I think no doubt it would rattle the playing group. Now, to what level that had an impact. They certainly, to me, they didn't look like the St Kilda that we've seen for the majority of the year, in the first half especially, with great run and great effort.
Yeah.
What you put that down to, I'm not sure. But, yeah, it was certainly an interesting situation, wasn't it? And it would have been a challenging one for Ross Lyon, as I said, to manage your way through that before the game. And hopefully Tim's okay. But it also highlights the stress and anxiety of performance before big games. When you're going to the MCG to play in front of what was 68,000 people, the mind and the body does funny things
How do you
when
get the sleep?
stress and anxiety is around that.
Did you sleep easy before grand finals, or did you? What's the least amount of sleep you had before a granny?
04, because I was in a lot of pain, so I had a leg injury going to the game, and
Excuse.
excuse. We got rolled, but
Dog.
I actually was pretty lucky. I reckon I slept pretty well before grand finals. Fortunately,
No drug assistance.
no. I never liked to take sleeping pills, so I used to feel drowsy from them.
They
so.
talk of a lot of players who physically throw up before a game. They're so nervous, and there's really big names that have done that over the journey.
Tim Notting, the old Past my old teammate, used to throw up before every game.
Yeah, see, like becomes like religious to them because it's almost like how they amp themselves up getting ready to play.
They
I find that wild.
Plug a locket.
Yeah, Plug a
Same
Locker,
thing.
here's another one.
Cuzzy on the ground.
Glenn Jakovic,
Yeah.
I reckon he was another
Did
too
he?
from memory. Yeah, I think that would throw up before games often just because it's, there's so much expectation, the nerves are so fierce.
I do remember that the grand final, 2001. Well, all the grand finals, but it's a funny feel on the MCG when there's a huge crowd. It's a really the butterflies are enormous in your stomach. It's a real funny. You feel light on your legs. Now this wasn't one of the grannies where I was knocked out, but it is like it does take time to settle. So, and everyone obviously handles that situation different, but it's a really churny feeling in your stomach.
Yeah, right.
And for some people, they can get that 24 hours out, 48 hours out, and sometimes they become overwhelming.
Man, I hate that. All I do is just watch one of Campbell's stories on the internet, just him telling a story. And then I would sleep like an angel on earth.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick, the Saints game, just to put a bow on that, feel for the Saints fans. I felt like there was like 4 moments in the game where it felt like they were coming back all the way up
it
to
did, didn't it?
the last quarter.
Yeah, they just couldn't keep it going. The 3/4 time siren came at the wrong.
Yeah.
Was at the wrong time? I think they were on. They kicked 2 straight. They went bang bang, then 3/4 time siren, and they came at the wrong time because they had momentum.
How old's Max King?
22.
He looks exactly the spirit of an older man, and I think that I hope he becomes a real legend of the game.
He fought back in the second half because he's very quiet in the first half. He fought back.
But he looks like he's from the 70s to me. I don't know why.
He does,
I can't put
bit
my
old
finger on it.
school.
Yes, Broads?
I'd say in a few more years, I think Max is still a little bit, he's getting there for a key forward. I think, in 3 or 4 years' time, we're going to see a real serious player.
Yeah, get some meat on them bones. Hey, we're going to take ads and we're going to talk about Jack Martin's report.
And there's a bet resolution.
Shit! Don't move, ads.
This is Brownie's Podcast.
This is Brownie's podcast. No dog today. Look, I think he's going to be furious after today.
Who's he going to blame?
Yeah.
Oh, me. Oh, it usually always comes back on me. I usually hear it first, and then sometimes, if he's got enough left in the tank, that he'll spread it around.
Is it
But-
via text message or you'll hear about it as a voice call?
Yeah, more of a call,
Yeah,
job.
okay.
But in fairness, he had done nothing wrong in the situation,
No.
and it is because we got robbed, which is unusual. But
He's in Sydney for the UFC. Did Buddy go to his box that someone hooked up for him? Who gave him the box?
I think it was Benny Dixon.
Oh, he's a good
Yeah.
friend, Doodle Dixon.
Good friend.
All right.
Got it up for him.
Do you want to do the bet first? Because
I'm excited.
You're insane. On Friday, you said what to Big John?
I said that I was pretty confident going into the game. Obviously, I'm a Port Adelaide supporter, and Browny, has a somewhat of affiliation with Brisbane Lions and pretends to care.
Correct.
But I said that if Port Adelaide were to win, and
Yes.
Brownie's got a very nice house in Melbourne, a very, very nice house.
Helicopter pad, all that
Yeah,
shit.
all the tennis court, all
yeah,
the works. And
yeah.
I said,
It's got a swing room.
Correct.
Dungeon.
oh, lovely.
What was that bloke's name again?
Doesn't matter.
What was that bloke overseas, the famous actor?
Oh, yes. Who was that?
used to talk about him on the Brecky show all the
Who had
time.
a sex dungeon?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Spacey?
matter. Yeah, probably Spacey.
No, not
Keep going.
Spacey.
And anyway, I said, if Port Adelaide are to win, I'm allowed to invite 20 of my most degenerate friends who are
Yeah, and
wild
Port Adelaide didn't win, so we don't care about
to
that.
your house,
So
and
what
we can
happened if
throw a
Brisbane
rager
wins?
at your house. Bit of a stay in at Brownie's
good.
house.
So that event
didn't happen.
That's not going to happen. So let's talk about the thing that is going to happen.
Yes.
What's going to happen, bro?
The other side of that bet is obviously grand final week is a big week for Brownie. Just for
Especially Brisbane, mate. Which they're looking very likely at the moment.
just for cash events. And obviously, I didn't want him to be hamstrung by having to drive everywhere because everyone wants to have a beer with Brownie. So I said, the other side of that bet is I'll drive you around for one day of a grand final week and drive you to all the cashies that you need.
Well, I can tell you right now
Yes.
that you better get. You work on the breakfast show as well. You better get that morning off. Thursday's going to be my big day. I'm going to be fully loaded, especially the Lions make it through. So there'll be breakfast that'll be starting at probably have to be there at 6:30.
Yes.
I enjoy a cocktail breakfast
Correct.
from time to time, a champagne breakfast.
And he's earned it.
Absolutely, I have. And I'll be going all day until a Brisbane Lions function that night where I'll be finishing with Martin Pike. And I still expect a ride home, which usually when you're with Uncle Martin, hard to get out of there before midnight.
And Beck, there probably won't be a car involved. Jonathan's cashies will be that close in. It'll probably be one of them, those bikes with the double seat at the back. You know the ones I'm talking about?
like a kid seat.
Correct.
So I've got Brownie in the kids' seat.
In a bicycle. And if you're good enough, he doesn't have to do this. He might chuck you a few of the notes. He might.
Yeah, a little sling.
I can't wait.
Well, hey, I'm serious, mate. It's going to be on. One of these days, you're going to be busy. Don't worry about that.
This isn't one of those bets that goes away because we are
Oh,
guilty
no,
of that.
we'll be doing this, and Beck will be with us, so she'll be recording the whole day for us. So on that Thursday, I'll have a breakfast, no doubt, see Brisbane get through, maybe multiple.
Yeah.
Then we'll have the recording of the podcast.
Yeah.
Then I'll have probably a lunch. Then I'll have an appearance for either Toyota, CUB, 4 and 20, or Dairy Australia.
A massage.
A massage, potentially.
Yeah.
What's your preferred massage venue?
That's where the cash will come in handy, Dina. And then, of course, the Lions appearance later on that day where I've got to get on stage and tell a few stories.
And do you know why, Broads? Because when you make stupid bets, you up.
Don't you think it was worth the risk?
Yeah, I guess it was. But yeah.
Broads,
Broads.
are you serious?
Yeah, you wait. I'll be there, mate.
No, you have
no,
to.
you have to be. Like, it's not a joke.
Do I get to go home in between events? Like
No, what? No.
Mate, there'll be probably 6 to 8 events. We won't have time to go home.
Actually, let's ask Bristol. Can he go home? No! No!
No.
There is something I want to talk about the game on Saturday night. Port
What?
Brisbane. Obviously, it
Yes.
was a bad game.
Bloodbath.
It was a bloodbath. Port Adelaide were good. Ollie Lord, young fella, was really good, I thought. Butters was pretty good. Rosie was great. But
You let down the whole round of finals.
Okay.
Ollie Wines. What's going on with
Yeah.
Ollie Wines and Trav Boak on the bench? You're two experienced campaigners.
What happened? I
Kane,
missed it.
Kane
got-
Corn summed it up best. It was boys against men. It really was.
Well, it doesn't help. You got Ollie Wines on the wing and Trad Boak sitting on the bench as the sub.
Trad
Come on,
Boaks.
play your experienced blokes on the road in a final.
Before the game got started, there was something that really ticked me off.
Yeah.
And I think a part of all finals games, there's a couple of moments that are above all else. And, we said last week with the coin toss with the hand, the AFL got me offside with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
I
this
think they
one,
listened because the big dumb phone
It was
hand
gone.
was gone.
It was gone.
I think they might have listened to you.
the second one, and this, again, the Australian national anthem. A very proud moment. I sing when I hear it in pubs and stuff. I always sing.
Yeah.
The girl on Saturday night, she dropped a verse. She remixed the Australian national anthem and just dropped a verse off the back end. And you almost can't hear it. It's because it's just flows so naturally. But yeah, she cut off an entire verse.
What?
Which, I'm sorry, you cannot remix the Australian national anthem.
Bullshit. I don't believe this happened.
It's a lot of expectation around the national anthem. So I can understand the anxiety, but it was a little bit subpar.
It was.
Did she just have an episode, or did she edit the
Well,
national
I
anthem?
think-
She looked nervous.
I think they were running behind, and I think that they thought, oh no.
They're running behind, so they said, just knock a verse
Yeah,
out, will you?
I think
Just
well,
knock
because
a
it
part of the
skips a
chorus
beat.
out.
No
it
one-
skips a beat in the song, and
Come on, Brades.
She must have just had an episode because no one in their right mind would edit the fucking national anthem.
But you're trying to
She's
tell
like,
us
listen,
that
I
she
just-
edited the national anthem on the run.
Yeah.
Because some organisers got in her ear and said, we're just slightly behind. Can you quicken this up?
I think she just thought about word economy and said, that verse isn't as important as the first one. We'll just skip straight over the cross. Bang.
Speaking
Remix.
of word economy, that's something he should study.
Yes,
Our
get
friend
on
Brody.
it.
I've
Get
got
on it,
great
Brody.
word economy.
Less is more.
Less is more. Someone said in Richmond, that was the feedback, wasn't it?
Beck, how are we going with the socials? Any news over the weekend? We go
Get on the
straight to-
socials too to check my match day too.
right.
We've done a collab with Fox Footy where you spend a day in the life of me.
Yeah, this is amazing.
And we come in to do so. Go on to that, go on the Instagram page, Brownie's podcast, and you'll see the collab we've done. It was fun.
It's John's full day, and you must see it from start to finish. Last week we spoke about you going to Samurai Restaurant in what suburb was it?
think it's Hawthorn.
Because they've got a wall of Hawthorn players, but weird ones. A weird cluster of players.
Nathan Thompson.
Yeah.
Ben Dixon.
Yeah.
Daniel Chick.
Yes.
But no Campbell Brown. Now I would have thought they're the heartthrobs.
Mm.
I think Jonathan Hay was there as well. So Shane Crawford was there potentially as well. So renowned Hawthorn heartthrobs.
Yes.
Brown Dog, heartthrob. After he's been for all seasons calendar. Why isn't Dog up there?
We sent Beck in to ask if we could put him on there. How did they receive it? You went into this restaurant.
I went in, talked to the owner. They were lovely, by the way. Dumplings was fantastic. But I brought up the question of Brown Dog, and when I brought that question up, they simply said they had no time to put him up on the wall.
No time over the course of the day.
What does that mean, no time?
Well, no time to hang his photo.
No physical time to put a picture on a wall.
No.
They're busy knocking out the dumplings. Well, I propose, Beck, with you, if you don't mind, let's go in together maybe late in the week or early next week. I've been to Samurai several times.
Yes.
I think they know me.
Yes.
I'll go in there with a photo of Brown Dog from the 2003. Is it 2003? From the Men for All Season calendar anyway. And I'll offer to hang it up for them.
Let's do it.
Do you think we do that?
Beck, how are they going to say no to that? The press alone.
So you're going to bring your own
Exactly.
hammer and a nail and say, yeah, no worries,
Absolutely, I
I'll put it in.
will. Do you think we should actually turn up?
Yes.
Because you could turn up and ask,
Yeah.
and they might say yes, but then on second thoughts, when you go away, they
Yeah.
might change their mind. I think we've actually got to turn up like full attack mode with the photo in hand and signed.
But here's the thing.
And with the hammer and the nails
Not-
like ready to go.
Not with too many cameras, because was I right in saying they're a bit freaked out by being filmed, like any
Yeah.
normal person?
Oh, we don't want to be on the internet or anything like that, so I'm just out here speaking the word.
Well, I think no cameras,
Yeah.
and we can take a photo of it, but I think we'll just talk to them back. We'll win them over.
Yeah. And John walks in with a goddamn hammer.
Well, with his charisma, like, we'll get it done.
Okay.
So.
Beautiful.
Ads.
Thank you, Beck.
Back in a second.
This is Brownie's Podcast.
This is Brownie's podcast. What's the big game this weekend?
I've got to go. Carlton, Melbourne, Friday night. I'm going down to interview Sammy Walsh at Icon Park.
What?
I need a question each. I haven't done any preparation.
Favourite movie? And if he says Shawshank, we'll stacks on.
Okay, perfect, broads.
Do you wish you got drafted to Port Adelaide?
That'll be a no, but I'll ask it anyway. Beck?
Favorite sushi?
John, this is going to be one of the great interviews.
Okay, favourite movie. Do you wish you got drafted to Port Adelaide? And favourite sushi?
Does Jack Martin get off before you go?
No.
He punched him square in the face. You traditionally get suspended for that.
And Maynard, one more, yes or no?
The AFL apparently are pushing for 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
This is a landmark case. This is a landmark case in the AFL.
You dropped that late?
I think he'll get off, but I'm not as convinced as I was a couple of days ago. There's a big push from AFL House to get him suspended.
Jesus.
Okay, love yous all,
All right, brother.
degenerates.
What does BT reckon about that?
Goodness gracious me!
I know! Bristle! I know! All right, so we'll be back on Friday. Campbell will be back in the studio. How you going to, mate? He's going to be a spicy boy next time he sees you.
I'm nervous.
Hell. Thanks, Beck.
Thank you.
See you, degenerates. See you soon.